you guys for the Board of Governors prep examination. We have our first knowledge area this morning will be business, and we have Michael the Coco that's going to be presenting with us this morning. So, Michael, I'll hand it over to you. Here's his bio. Michael comes to us. He serves as the site administrative director of laboratory services at Kaiser Permanente in Santa Rosa. Prior to that, he served as the director of ancillary services over clinical and non-clinical areas at AHMC Staten Medical Center, and held leadership positions in various healthcare settings such as academia, private, government, and critical access hospital areas from medium to large size healthcare systems. Without any further ado, I'll hand it over to Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Sir Olivia. Thank you very much for that introduction. Um, Good morning, everyone, and I'm happy to be here with you today to, imparting my knowledge about business related to the preparation for the BOG exam. So the business knowledge in healthcare for me when I was preparing for this exam was a big, big section. It's like a mini MBA. So what I really did during that time is I just focus it. So I strategize it to divide it in three major areas, which are the strategic functions, marketing functions, and especially the how to conduct business in healthcare marketplace. It constitutes around 16 questions in the exam, and under this umbrella, you have the different knowledge that you have to know and prepare for before the exam. So the um, the first one is the knowledge of the strategic planning process, example, scenario planning, forecasting, community needs assessment. So this is more on how to use the information that you have on hand to predict and analyze your healthcare operations. So um, you will be able to see some terms such as managerial epidemiology and basic statistics such as inferential or descriptive statistics in this area. And this strategic planning also it's mostly related to your mission and vision on how you get there to your goals. What are the different approaches that you need to take during the process of planning to achieve your goals, such as approaches such as environmental assessment, organization direction, strategy formulation and implementation. So that's basically the strategic planning process. So next is the knowledge of business planning processes, which is implementation and assessment. So adding of new services, for example, if you're thinking of adding new service lines or developing service lines, so it's really important to know the most important area or element in adding a business line, which is the business plan. So that includes justification, the SWOT analysis, and of course the financial analysis, which is very important in business plan. If you how much money that you have to invest in that plan. So knowledge of basic business contracts, such as what constitutes a contractual commitment and legal financial implications. So this is mostly you need to learn the difference between verbal, written, or implied agreements. So in this area, you need to make it sure that you know how to differentiate the various contract components, such as and the differences of the legal terms, such as tort, breach of contract, statute of limitation, etc. Um, and the knowledge of impact on socioeconomic environment has on the organization. So this more on uh, relates on health disparity and I don't know if you haven't done it yet or not. So I would really recommend you to look at the ACHU website. I highly encourage you to read the health disparity topics there. So it's really important in your preparation. There's a lot of readings that you can read there and prepare for the exam for this topic for socioeconomic environment. Next slide, please. The next one is the knowledge of marketing principles and tools and how to interpret marketing data. So mostly this is the review of your four P's. You know, the price, product, and promotion, the marketing processes and marketing components such as segmentation strategy. So what are your strategy in your marketing initiatives? So and the best way on how to target your audiences or your target population. So um, and there's also the knowledge of principles of media relations, advertising, social media, and community relations. You need to know the separation between marketing, public relation versus community relations. So it can be tricky in the question. So you need to at least know the difference between PR and community relations. So knowledge of techniques involved in negotiating contracts or services. Um, and the last but not the least is the knowledge of potential impacts and consequences of business decision making on operations, healthcare, human resources, and quality of care. So those are the different areas of this body of knowledge that you have to, you know, uh, prepare for before sitting for the exam. So, um, and the next slide, please. And I think we're ready to, take the first stab on the sample questions for this, business knowledge area. So I would like to, I'm gonna do is to read first the question and the selections. Then, if you don't mind, also putting your answers in the comment or the chat box, that would be great. So we will make this, a participative way of Q&A. So let's go first. So which of the following is an uncontrollable factor in a marketing plan? So quick technique that I used before is every time I look at the question, I look at the topics, the main topic that the question is asking, and I go through all the selections, even though it's so obvious. The answer is so obvious, so I still go through it to make it sure that I am not missing anything. So the two topics here is the marketing plan and the uncontrollable factor. So those are the two main topics. So the selection A is economic environment, B, budget, C, personnel, and D, creativity. And everyone is, I think, saying A. So the budget, you can control your budget, right? And personnel, you can control your staffing. And I don't know, can you control creativity? I think so, right? So I think that's just noisance there, that letter D there. So, and I think the correct answer is next slide is the economic environment. So yeah, we cannot control that, the economic environment, especially at the current situation, right? So next question. So the element most critical to the successful design and implementation of an executive decision support system in a healthcare organization is A, availability of software for updating the database. B, maintaining data confidentiality. C, involvement of top management. D, availability of network computer equipment. So what's the topic that we're discussing here? It's the executive decision support system, or what I call it EDSS. That's what I call it, the executive decision support system in healthcare organizations. So this health EDSS is type of information system that top level management can access and have an overview strategically on all what's happening in the organization, all their an overview of their KPIs and other data that is a performance improvement that they are monitoring. So it's a high level related to the top management oversight of operations. So and availability of software for updating the database. I don't think I would like to eliminate that. B, maintaining data confidentiality. don't need to have a confidentiality for the data, right? Especially within the organization. So I will eliminate that. So, and C is possible involvement of top management, and D is availability of network computer equipment. Those A, B, and C are mostly computer operations, and I would select C because it is important that the top management is involved in this design of executive decision support system because they are the one using it and they are the decision makers. So, which is correct, and and I think everyone chose C as well in the chat. So the next question: what is the fundamental reason of joint ventures between healthcare organizations? So we're talking about joint ventures here, right? So selection A, they are allowed by EMTALA. B, they are formed because they offer legal routes to cooperative efforts. C, they are permitted as means to share clinical and quality advancement. And D, they are created to lower overhead costs. So what are we seeing here? We're saying C, right? C. So joint ventures. So these are joint ventures is like it's a initiative between two company wherein they have joint ventures in terms of their business, right? Operations. So what is the advantage of joint ventures? It give you a leverage, a better landscape of your healthcare operations of your and it give you leverage to share resources between the two, and it can give you also some advantage on tapping to the resources of the other organization. So let's look at A. They're allowed by EMTALA. Do you think EMTALA is important in the joint ventures? I think EMTALA is mostly in the is a regulation for emergency services, right? So I would eliminate that. B, they are formed because they offer legal routes to cooperative efforts. I will not eliminate that because I would relate joint ventures versus legal routes. So you need to have a legal routes to have a joint ventures. It should be legal, right? So C, they are permitted as a means to share clinical and quality advancement. Possible, that's I would it's I would put that as a question mark. Then they are created to lower overhead costs, not necessarily, right? So I would eliminate A, D, and make C as possible, but B is my you know the most one. So, and the answer is B, which is you know the correct answer. So next question. So, when contracting of services, an organization typically finds the best value when. So, this is more contracting of services, and what's the advantage, excuse me, of contracting for services. So, A, the organization creates an internal auditor position to oversee the service. A board member negotiates for discounted services. C, organization allows the prospective supplier to develop the contractual service expectations. D, there's a competition between several suppliers with proven performance and reputation. So let's go for A. The organization creates an internal auditor position to oversee the service. I don't think we need that in contracting for services. Board member for to negotiate for discounted services. I don't think we're going to involve our board member in contracting services. uh, the organization allows the prospective supplier to develop the contractual service expectation. I would probably see a question. Say that's another question mark. And D is the best selection that I would like to leave in my choices. So, and the answer says D. Yeah, because it so if there is a competition in contracting services, you know, or it promotes what it you can get a better outcome or result because if there's competition, you might have probably a better pricing that you'll get from that services. So competition is always good in this manner. So number five. So when data is scarce, the best method of forecasting is to use. So forecasting, we're talking about forecasting here, and when there's no data, forecasting and data. So what to use when there's a scarcity of data for forecasting. So A, computer-based simulation methods. B, time series analysis. C, econometric forecasting. And D, qualitative techniques. Are there any selection there? Okay, I'm getting D here. D, yeah. So computer-based selection methods. So what are this? This is more on algorithms that are used in the computer system, right? So we don't use that in our forecasting. So I would eliminate that. So time series analysis. I think this is more on an analysis of data points and to get trends and patterns or like seasonality, like for example the flu season. You have to do a series of analysis for how many data of how many flu or the COVID that you had. That's time series analysis. And econometric forecasting is more on this is more used by the economists in forecasting some economic variables, relationship of economic variables, and to predict, I think, the future of our economy, something like that. So, and qualitative techniques is the it's gathered through interview, right? Focus groups and observations, and interview with your staff. So if you're doing some initiatives and if you are out of the qualitative data or quantitative data, go and observe the operation, something like that. So that is a qualitative techniques. And the answer for this question is D. Yeah. So if you don't have quantitative data, always go to qualitative data and observe, interview, focus group, use of focus groups, or even interview your staff to get more additional data. So number six, most products and services enter a period of decline under unless compelling reasons prevail. Continuing a declining product or service is costly because, so this is about declining product, how continuously using of declining products in the market. So because A, increased turnover of personnel will occur. B, continuation will set an undesirable precedent concerned with maintaining the status quo. C, the program will consume a disproportionate amount of management time and delay the search for a replacement. And D, the organization will perceive as being insensitive to marketplace. What do you guys think? Let's see what's in here. What So I see C as an answer here. Three. We'll see. Increased turnover of personnel will occur. I don't think if you're if you're continuously using old system, this will influence a turnover of personnel. So I would eliminate that. So continuation will set an undesirable precedent concerned with maintaining the status quo. Undesirable precedent. So what do you guys think about this? I would probably put as a question mark. And the program will consume a disproportionate amount of management time and delay the search for a replacement. That's possible. I will leave that. Oh, maybe no. I will probably make that as question mark. And the organization will be perceived as being insensitive to the marketplace. No, I think I will eliminate this because you are not going to be insensitive to the marketplace if you don't have budget to upgrade your system, right? So even though you want to upgrade your system, so for me, let me see what's the right answer here. I would just probably B. I was choosing B, and the answer is C. So I am wrong there. So the program will consume a disproportionate amount of management time and delay the search for a replacement. Okay, I think this is correct because it will you know consume our time, and we will be far behind in searching for a replacement because some of the organization already upgraded and us and your organization will not is not. So it's it's instead of aside from being a search of delay on the search of replacement, you can be also perceived as as slow adapter for any innovation. So next question, number 7. So before submitting a business plan for a new clinical service line to the governing body, the plan should be developed by A. Recommendations from the Finance Committee on the basis of the estimate of income for the budget year. So I just want to make it sure that these questions and selections, it's so wordy and it's lengthy. So please don't you have to go through all the process of reading this so that you will not miss the correct answer. So sometimes I get tired of this kind of questions. So B, the heads of the profit centers, considering each center's anticipated revenues and expenses with the CEO putting it all together. C, key executives after receiving recommendations from the heads of the operating divisions and key physician leaders. D, heads of the operating divisions with the CEO putting it all together. Let's do an elimination here. A, recommendation from the finance committee. I don't think it will start with the finance committee, right? So I will eliminate that. B, the heads of the profit centers, considering each center's anticipated revenues and expenses with the CEO putting it all together. I don't think the CEO will put all together your business plan, right? And C, key executives after receiving a recommendation from the heads of operating divisions and key physician leaders. I would probably, leave that as as my answer. And the D, heads of the operating divisions with the CEO putting it all together. So the B and C are the same. So it's not the CEO putting all together the business plans. So the answer is, let's see what's the answer. C. So I would like to focus on this letter C because if you see this kind of selection in the questions, you can see that there's a collaboration, right? There's a collaboration between the executive, the heads of the operating division, or probably the director of the department, and most importantly, you have the physician leaders there. So everyone is involved. So that is the best and high level answer that I can tell in this question. So that's why I'm choosing the C. There is involvement of everyone. So next is the next question. Hospital systems have many customers. Of the four mentioned groups of people or organizations below, which is least likely? So remember, this question says least likely. Those words you need to pay attention on those to be listed as key targets in marketing campaign. A, buyers. B, caregiver exchanges. C, state government, and D, patients. So let's see what are the uh, answers here that our group or member participants are saying. So A, A. Okay. So I think if I would like to reword this question, it says here, hospital systems have many customers of the forementioned. So I would say except of all of the following, which is the key target in marketing campaign? Except. So it's saying except. So that's why I think those people are saying A. I think there's a confusion there. That's why be careful with this of the which is the least likely? Those are the words that will throw you off. So A, buyers, caregivers. So what's the answer? Let's see. C, yeah, state government. So these buyers, caregivers, exchanges, and patients, they're all target population for your marketing campaign, right? Or they are considered customers. They're all customers except the state government. So, number nine. Next, environmental assessment of or environment scanning is a formal surveillance review of the organization and its environment. All of the following should be taken into account by the planning unit. So the same type of question from number eight. All of the following. So be careful on that. So all of the following should be taken into account by the following unit. A, community demography, epidemiology, and economy. B, trends in physician availability. C, niche strategies. And D, patient or community attitude. So it's saying that, in environmental assessment or scanning, all of this are included except, let's see what are the answers that they're saying here. Yes, C. So except the niche strategies. So what is a niche strategist? So it is, like a specific segmentation of marketing wherein you go to specific, you develop a specific product for a specific target population. So I think that's not part of environmental assessment or scanning. It's part of the marketing strategy. So, and all of A, B, and C are part of environmental assessment or scanning. So that's why the answer is C. So, next question. Number 10. A healthcare facility can be best meet its social economic goals by A. Developing a realistic and coordinated approach to long-range planning. B. Devoting most of its efforts to the development of efficient operational practices. C. Having a good public relations program which will focus the facility in the community. D. Providing all reimbursable services desired by the community. Okay, we're seeing A here as their answers, and this answer is A. Yeah, so it's developing a realistic and coordinated approach to long range planning because you will include your social economic goals in your long range planning. So next question, please. Oh, I think that's it. Oh, do we have time to do the supplemental question, or we're good to go to the next topic?
We we probably we probably have time because we're 30 minutes into the first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have time to you know go to the supplemental questions. So there's a question here. On the last question, seems like C could have been answered, but A was just better. Can you go back to that question?
Or I'm pulling up the dollar slide deck, all right. Let me find the other slide deck. Hold on.
I think I have it here. So it says the letter C, having a good public relations program, which will focus the facility in the community. So if I'm choosing this, I would make this a question mark because uh, you're right. The A is more strategic because and because it talks about range planning, and you can add your public relations program focusing the community in your long range planning. So it's part the letter C is part of letter A. Did I answer that question?
That's it right here.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're having a good public relations program which will focus the facility in the program. So A is the best answer because it's more strategic because you're talking about long range planning and in your long range, excuse me, or strategic planning, you public relations is part of that. That's why the best answer is A.
Okay.
Thank you. So let's go to the supplemental question number 1. The division of a market into subsets of consumers with similar needs and wants enables the marketers to focus their marketing efforts on consumers most likely to buy a product or use a service. So, what is this called? Segmentation, need, want, or demand? Let's see what's the answer, what our participants are going to be answering. They're saying A. Looking. Under A. A. And the answer says? Yep, segmentation. So this is part of a marketing strategy for segmentation, wherein you go to a specific products with a specific target population. Next question. So a long-term, formal, and mutually beneficial relationship between two or more parties to pursue a set of agreed-upon goals or to meet a critical business need while remaining independent organizations. Oh, this is, this is tricky. Strategic partnership, alliance, affiliation, or merger. So these are all part of a venture, actually, joint venture, different type of joint ventures which needs a legal routes and they have different functionalities or purpose. So just something that I would like to encourage everyone to look for all the the differences of these strategic ventures. It might come up in your exam. Um, so the question here says agreed upon goals while remaining independent. So that's the main uh, uh, topic there. So and the answer is B then. See? And B, that is correct. Is alliance because if it's part alliance is if you're doing a strategic alliance with a certain company, you have still the independence of your organization, but you can still tap at the resources and get some leverage on that. So that's tricky for me. So next question. So innovation that creates a new market by this. Okay, there's something. Thank you for pointing that out. I changed my answers. Yeah, yeah, Michelle, thank you. So, innovation that creates a new market by discovering new categories of customers, eventually displacing the existing market. So, what's that? What we call? So, once there's a new innovation, then it displays the other, categories of displace the other product. Buyer behavior, product life cycle, disruptive behavior, or marketing innovation? And the answer says disruptive innovation. Yeah, this is it's called disruptive innovation. So product cycle. So if you can please also look to the product cycle. What are different cycle or product life cycle? It might probably come out in exam. So there's different cycle in the product life cycle. So next question. Assimilation of the vertical components of an organization through greater internal control and coordination is called vertical integration, horizontal integration, conglomerate integration, and the upward integration. Let's see what are the answers here. See, I'm seeing C here. And the answer is it's vertical integration. So just want to let you know the C and D are just nuisance. They are not really part of the integration process in the healthcare business. So the A and B are the two main integration for health in healthcare business. So vertical integration and horizontal integration, you have to know a difference on those because there will be probably examples if this if this service A and service B are combined together, what kind of integration, something like that. So I will ask you to give focus on that as well. What are the differences of the vertical and horizontal integration and their examples. Next question. A systematic process of envisioning a desired future and translating that vision into broadly defined goals or objectives and a sequence of steps to achieve them. What is this? C. I'm seeing C here. Another C. So trend analysis is mostly, yeah, and the answer is strategic planning. So this is a definition of the strategic planning actually. So, and trend analysis is just analyzing the trend for your for to predict some business opportunities, something like that. Surveys research is very obvious. You're surveying someone. So strategic planning is the answer here. And number 6, next question. So use of data from the past and present to analyze trends and predict the future. A, trend. B, surveys. C, focus group. And D, forecasting. Their answer, what's the answer here that they're answering? Oh, I'm seeing. So I would eliminate A because it's a trend. It's part of analysis for forecasting, right? B, surveys is a part is a type of qualitative data, and C is another type of qualitative data, and D is the correct answer here, which is am I right? What's the correct answer? Is it D? Yes, it's you're forecasting using the previous and the past data to analyze trends and predict the future. So that's forecasting. So and our participants are right. They're saying it's D. Next question. Okay. A contracting party's failure or refusal to perform its obligations specified in a contract. A, malfeasance. B, defamation, C, tort, and D, breach of contract. So if I'm looking at this question, I would eliminate A right away, right? Because malfeasance is not part of a contract, right? Uh, and defamation is uh, not also part of a contract, right? So I would eliminate A and B. So I would leave C and D because the tort and breach of contract are, they're related to contracting obligation or contracting process. So, and the answer here is D. So it's you failed or refused to perform the obligations in the contract. So you're breaching the contract. So um, next question. Oh, that's all that we have.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Shirlivia, for the opportunity to help here in the preparation for the BOG exam, and good luck to everyone. And I'm hoping that I will see the uh, last the Fachi initials in your last name in the future. So
All right. Now we have our next knowledge area, which will be finance. And I have our chair of our committee, Kevin. Are you here? There you are. So Kevin and I will be presenting this section together, and maybe we'll kick it off with him being the lead here. But you can see on this particular slide, um, oops. I'm sorry, did you move? Yes. So within this section, you have 24 questions, and it's 12% of the overall grade when you sit to take the exam. So Kevin?
Great, thank you. And thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure to have you join our team. And hi, everybody. I'm looking forward to tag teaming with Sherlivia through the finance. And Michael's so good at chiming in as well. So we got a great team to share finance. So moving right along. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's some a few things about ethics and professionalism for healthcare managers. I think we can move on from this one, actually. Okay, we have Sherlivia presenting here. I think everybody knows Sherlivia. I've been hosting most of these throughout the week. President of Compliance and Education, Clinical Revenue Cycle. That's her expertise. National Speaker on Clinical Revenue Cycle and Data Integration Challenges, Benefits, and Strategies for Success. 20 plus years of operational clinical revenue cycle leadership with high data and system analysis component. And recently honored by Who's Who in American as a leading healthcare executive. And Sherlivia, this needs to be corrected because she just is a global speaker. She just landed at SFO, at 7 a.m. from Australia, speaking there. So she's a world-wide speaker now. So moving right along next. And here's a little bit about me here.
So Kevin, I can introduce you. So Kevin is the Director of Operations at Narbay Health here in Fairfield, California. Over 10 years of healthcare finance leadership and experience in healthcare, board of directors and audit committee chair for International Healthcare Board. Of course, our CAHL board of directors and chair for our membership advancement committee, and over 10 years as a fellow.
Thank you so much, Sherlivia.
You're welcome.
Okay, next slide, please. All right, so finance, I was fortunate when I took the test to do quite well. There's in this section, this is a challenge. Lots of stuff here, financial accounting principles. You need to analyze, interpret financial reports, operating budget principles. A lot of us who are operators know about fixed versus flexible budget, zero-based budgeting, variance analysis, capital budgeting. I know capital budgeting even came up in our previous sessions. I think just last week, funding sources, long-term implications of capital planning, such as depreciation, reimbursement methodologies and their ramifications, managed care models, national state programs, value-based fee for service. That's definitely Sherlivia's expertise. Productivity measures, hours per patient days, cost per patient day, units of service, all that decision support stuff, and financial controls, internal systems for accounts payable, checks and balances, and auditing principles. And we've all heard of some fraud and abuse type of things. Revenue generation, billing coding, etc. How to justify a business model, business case, ROIs, all that stuff in between. Potential impacts for consequences of financial decision making. We've seen challenges in healthcare, finances all over the country. Asset management, depreciation we just talked about, financing, funding sources, revenue, payer mix, and then philanthropy and foundation work, raising money for that new cancer center, new hospital, new MRI, whatever it is, and supply chain systems, structures, and processes. So if you're in healthcare, you probably know a little bit about this. So let's kick it right off, jump right into questions. We've about 45 minutes left, so we're right on track on our time here. Here's our first question. During the investigation of merger or acquisition, why would it be prudent for a healthcare executive to obtain advice from someone other than the internal legal counsel? And we've all seen those failed and successful mergers and acquisitions. But here's the question or potential answers, multiple choice. Regular legal counsel may not be objective. External legal counsel may have experience in joint ventures. External legal counsel has the ability to provide the services in a more economic and timely manner, or specialized expertise is needed in this area. It's a tricky question, to be quite honest. So what have we seen in the chat? I mean, I'll just say we have, whether it's your HR department, your legal department, finance department, we aren't all experts in every potential area. And it feels like you probably want that specialized. And you don't do joint ventures every week at a health system either, right? That day-to-day grind. So that's kind of where my mind's going. So I'm seeing D. I'm seeing D's. Specialized expertise is needed in this area. I think we'll eliminate regular legal counsel may not be objective. Maybe they got something. I'm going to eliminate that one. And then externally has to be in a more economic and timely manner. I think we're really looking for what we want. I'm being D are pretty darn close, I'll just say. So that's a tough one, but we're seeing a lot of D's. All right, let's what's the answer? D, specialized expertise is needed in this area. God, versus external legal counsel may have the experience in joint ventures. That one, I will say, that is so tricky. Any comments on that one? Any comments? Because I think almost B and D are very close.
It sounds like they're saying the same thing in different words, but the specialized is the most the most accurate of the two.
Yeah, specialized. No, thank you. No, very good.
Okay.
I
was going to say I have to do a double take on this one because D, even though I chose D, it's so broad. And so I thought it was just so broad, it needed to be a little bit more specific, but landed on D because it just seemed like the most relevant choice.
No, very good, Praveen. Very good. Thank you, everyone, for the input. Okay, let's head on the next one. Ratio of output and input is a measure of liquidity, process, productivity, the work of environment. Output, input. Seen C. Yeah, liquidity, I don't think that's really much to do with your cash flow completely. Process, you don't necessarily have an input and output on process. The work of the environment, maybe. I like the C's for productivity. Let's go with see the answer. Are we hitting C? There we go. Great job, everybody. You hit that one perfectly. Let's go to the next one. Shalivia, why don't you grab the next one here?
Okay. So number 3, a hospital that continuously assesses the interests of community and searches for ways to meet these interests can be described as a predatory type of organization, a market-oriented organization, market optimized, or differentiated type of organization. So I'm seeing a lot of B's in the chat, which if we really look at market oriented, right, an organization that really focuses on understanding the needs of their market. So that does seem like it fits into the question. There was a couple of C's, I think, also in the chat. And market optimized, really, while this may sound like a strong option, it typically refers to internal efficiency or pricing strategy when we're talking about optimization within the market. So maybe B is the best answer here for this particular questions. We had a couple of B's and C's that I saw come through in the chat. All right. So, and I think the biggest difference between the B and C is the oriented versus optimization. And when we really think about optimization, we're thinking about probably more of community engagement, pricing strategy, our internal efficiencies, rather than really focusing on the market itself and understanding the needs and the preferences of the market, the value of the market for that market-oriented type of organization. All right. Next slide. Kevin, I think.
Yeah, I'll talk about net income as a percentage of gross revenues and return on equity are the two most important indicators of profitability, credit worthiness, market strength, or cash position. So net income as a percentage of gross revenue and return on equity. Seen A. Yeah, credit worthiness. Not thinking how we're doing our credit. Market strength. How much do we own the market? Not in a cash position. Same almost as, I don't know, liquidity in the other one, but the other question. I think you guys all hit it with profitability. Let's hit the question here. The answer. Very good, very good. That one's a little bit easier than another trick question a couple ago. All right, let's go to the next one, please. When reviewing assets, which element is the most important indication of the organization's liquidity? Okay, liquidity. Building and equipment, long-term investments, cash and short-term investments, land and other assets. I think this one's kind of easy. Buildings and equipment, I can't really sell those overnight if I need to cash out, right? I just gave the clue there. Long-term investments, same thing, right? Long-term, not short-term liquidity. Land and other assets, similar. I got hundreds of acres. I'm not selling that tomorrow. Cash and short-term investments. Not too bad. This one's pretty easy, I feel. You guys all got this one. Next, hit the answer, please. C. There we go. All right, Shalivia, why don't you grab the next one?
All right, number 6. Financial statements are important in order to, is it A, identify, measure, record, and communicate in dollar terms the economic events and status of an organization? That's actually a very long response there. But if we break that down a little bit, that may be a good potential answer here. Or would it be B, serve as a control mechanism for budgeting? C, provide detailed financial information for control at the department level? Or D, provide staffing guidelines to human resources manager? Okay, so financial statements. So we know D is not a viable answer right there, just because I think human resources is not the entity that we're going to be looking at for financial statements and why they're important. So I didn't see anything come through the chat yet unless I missed it. Um, provide detailed information. So provide detailed information really for control at the department level is not formal financial statements if we look at it from that viewpoint. Or then we have B, serve as a control mechanism for budgeting. While financial statements do inform budgeting and can help monitor variances, they are not the mechanism itself. So it looks like A may be the best answer here. All right. So A it is. And I think the core purpose of financial statements, right, is accounting and finance. So if we identify the economic activities that's kind of going on, so revenue, expenses, our assets, our liabilities, if we measure that financial impact, we got to record those events in a standardized way and then be able to communicate that back to the organization and identify the financial status to our internal and external stakeholders. So
Yeah.
that's what makes A the best answer. I'm sorry, there's someone else.
If I may add to that, Sir Lita, this is Michael. Yeah, for me, it's the A summarizes the function or yeah, the function of financial statements to stakeholders like outside. If in case you get some audit or anything, you have the financial statements available. So it communicates to the external stakeholders for auditing purposes. Like for example, RAC, right? The Recovery Audit Program. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I think you make a good point. I think the definition aligns with the general accounting principles, right? General accepted accounting principles that we use
yeah.
a lot in finance.
Yeah, so the financial statements really comprises the balance sheet, income statement, cash flows, and equities or net assets, which you mentioned a while ago. So
Thank you. All right.
The, I'll jump into this one. In most cases, the most favorable financial audit opinion that an organization can receive is a qualified opinion, adverse opinion, disclaimer of opinion, or an unqualified opinion. I've seen a lot of audits, and I will tell you it's tricky a little bit. I'm seeing some A's. The most favorable financial audit, adverse probably isn't. Disclaimer of opinion probably isn't. I'm going to just say A and D. It's a trick question here. How I interpret it, seeing so many audit reports over the years. I'm seeing a lot of A's, qualified opinion. One person I think has identified the correct answer, and we were going to disclose, and I believe it's D. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. Let's give there we go. It's D. It's a very tricky thing which CPAs put out in audit reports, but it is unqualified opinion. I want to give Praveen. I think he was one of few, if any, that others that got that. But great job, Praveen. Okay, yeah, unqualified opinion. I'll tell you, it's a little tricky, right? I'm unqualified, right, to give you an opinion, or it's an unqualified opinion. Sounds very, but I will say that is the answer. Richard,
Sounds very
your ear was
counterintuitive.
Was there a comment? Other comments?
It
Okay. All right,
sounds very counterintuitive. The unqualified
I know.
opinion.
So we're not going to forget this one if it comes up on the test, right? In your finance section. Let's get this one right. This one's opposite. All right, next one, please.
Kevin, this is Michael.
Yeah, Michael, I love it. Go jump on in. I love it.
Add on that qualified and unqualified opinion. So these are the different types of financial audit that the organization will receive. If it's qualified it means at the bottom of the report says we are finding has a qualified opinion wherein it's bad, something is wrong. It mean in their report. And another one is our it says adverse opinion wherein the finding for the art is really adverse. There's like adverse result of the audit. And disclaimer says of opinion says, and at the bottom of the report they say disclaimer it's either bad or good. That's why. But for unqualified, that's the best one because it should show in the report that says the report shows we did not find anything unqualified opinion. So there's nothing. That's the good report that we should probably expect during financial audit. It should be unqualified opinion. It means nothing qualifies under a bad thing that qualifies under audit. So.
Thanks for expanding on that one. Very good answer. Very good explanation. All right, let's go to the next one, please. Next one, please, Mr. Jaime.
I know Michelle had a question in the chat. Just
Oh, I'm so sorry.
If that answer fulfills her, she wanted an additional explanation on the unqualified opinion. All right, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Jump on in, Shirley.
Okay. The purpose of the statement of operations, our income statement, is to, all right, so A, present the financial position of the organization at a specific point in time. All right, the purpose of the statement of operation. B, present the reason net assets change from one period to another. C, present cash receipts where they came from and cash disbursements and where they went during an accounting period. Or D, present the operating results of the organization over a period of time. So if we look at the first, present the principal position of the organization at a specific point in time. This does describe the balance sheet or the statement of the financial position. The balance sheet shows assets, liabilities, net assets on a specific date, not over a period of time. All right. So that may not be the best answer for this particular question. B presents the reasons presents the reasons net assets change from one period to another. This is the role of a statement of changes in net assets or equity. It explains how and why assets increase or decrease, often due to surpluses or changes in donor restrictions. So our C, present cash receipts and where they came from, and cash disbursements and where they went during an accounting period. So this describes a statement of cash flow. It tracks actual cash movement in operating, investing, and financial activities, not accrual-based net income or loss. So if we look at our last one, presents the operating results of the organization over a period of time. So this is the statement of operations, also known as the income statement. It shows the organization's revenues. It shows expenses, gains, and losses during the defined accounting period. So probably for this particular answer, D is likely the best answer. I'm not sure if there was anything that was presented in the chat portion for a potential answer.
A lot of A's, but what you said, Shirley, A and B are pretty much the balance sheet. So yeah, so those would be more balance sheet answers if that was the question.
Right.
But
A is but more balance sheet driven. Yes.
And B as well. Yeah.
Yes. And so, and that makes D the most appropriate answer, kind of looking at the statement of operations from the organization's revenue expenses. So presenting the operating results of the organization over a period of time and looking at all of their expenses over a period of time and doing a defined accounting period. So whether that would be monthly, quarterly, or annually, However, they're looking at their income, their operating income and expenses over a period of time. And I think that's the key component here. The statement is crucial for leadership to understand profitability, cost structure, and financial sustainability.
So, if I may add on that,
Mm-hmm.
I always look at it when I'm, for me, when I'm taking the exam, keywords. So, for me, the D has a keyword actually there, over a period of time. So it
Mm-hmm.
means either a calendar year or fiscal year. So over a period of time. So, and this over a period of time, calendar year or fiscal year, really relates to the statement of operations, wherein statement of operations are over a period of time for a year. That's how I can see that. So.
Ratio, ratios that measure an organizational long-term liquidity are called liquidity ratios, profitability ratios, capital structure ratios, or efficiency ratios. We are seeing A. Yeah, I would eliminate profitability, capital structure, efficiency. I'm seeing a lot of A's. Yeah, profitability would probably be more, ins and outs and stuff. But okay, let's see what this one is. Liquidity ratios. I would think A.
Mm-hmm. I think the general accounting principles and kind of understanding that is a big piece of the financial components of it. Because if we look at the liquidity ratio, usually those are short-term liabilities. And in this particular question, we're looking at long-term liquidities. So, and just looking at each of these from a definitional viewpoint, you'll be able to come to the right question. So I always say, please go back to these questions and look up from a definitional viewpoint what they each mean, and specifically what's long-term versus short-term. Probably if we look at capital structure ratios, those are typically long-term financial type of obligations within the healthcare system. So maybe C might be the best answer. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. And the key term here is long-term. I would say liquidity versus short-term liquidity, in which each of these terms mean from a definitional viewpoint. Because we all know profitability ratios is about profit, right? And not kind of in the current time when we're looking at profitability ratios, which are net profit margin, your return on assets, your return on equity. So definitely that's not the best answer here. So I would say general accounting principles are key to this section knowledge area, and then kind of some definitional study in here.
Go ahead, Shirley.
Okay. So 10, the purpose of the strategic financial plan is to, all right, A, look at look into the future 10 years to determine what the business will look like. While strategic planning may involve long-term visioning, our strategic financial plan focuses more on financial feasibility and not forecasting for that particular one. B, translate the strategic plan into the next year's objectives. C, convert the operating plan into monetary terms. Or D, identify resources that will be necessary to accomplish the strategic plan. So again, the purpose of the strategic financial plan is to, and I think for this one, for me anyway, B and D were kind of my maybe two answers that I kind of struggled with for this particular question here. D, again, identifying the resources that will be necessary to accomplish the strategic plan. So a strategic financial plan does align financial resources with the long-term strategic goal of an organization. And when we look at D, it ensures that the leadership understands what funding is. So we're looking at the resources that will be necessary. So what's the funding? What's the capital adventures? So maybe D may be the best answer, but for me, I did struggle with this particular one between B and C. And when so go, what's the answer for this? Okay, yeah. And when I looked at the B, and we're looking to translate the strategic plan into next year's objective goals, this is the role of the operating plan or the annual budget, not necessarily the strategic financial plan. So, strategic financial planning typically looks at a 3 to 5 year out plan. So again, D is the best answer here.
This question reminds me of, I used to work for a larger health system for 15 years, and one of the tools we used on an annual basis was called the ISFP, the Integrated Strategic Financial Plan, right? So right on here. Thank you.
Hi, this is Michael. If I may add my feedback or opinion on this is, so I just want to make it remind everyone that there's different types of a strategic plan. So first is the main strategic plan for the whole organization, right? So under that strategic plan for the main or for the whole organization, we have an individual strategic financial plan for the finance and a strategic IT plan for the IT. So for this question, it says strategic financial plan. So it's relating to the strategic financial plan. So for letter A, for me, look into the future into 10 years to determine what the business will look like. This is a definition actually of a strategic plan. Of a strategic plan. So, and translate the plan into next year's objective. This is a process on how to get to your strategic plan. So convert the operating plan into monetary. I think this is a definition of budgeting. And the D, this is more on strategic financial plan because you're identifying the resources, how much you would incur in terms of money to achieve your strategic plan long-term goal, probably in 5 years or 10 years. That's why for me D is the best answer because it's related to the strategic financial plan, identifying resources which equates to finance. Hopefully I did not I did not confuse everyone in there.
Thank you, Michael. I think, was that the last one, or are we on the next? Another one? Okay. A zero-based plan or budget could best be described as starting each plan or budget cycle with a clean slate, adjusting expenses based on realized volume, allowing unencumbered funds to be transferred the next year, limiting department managers to only the expenses they control. I'm seeing some A's. This is a great word. I mean, a lot of times we do the budgeting process. It's like, let's look at trends. Let's increase it a little bit. I got a little more volume, so we'll increase it a little bit more. Like on a flex budget, maybe your budget system would automatically do that for you. Assumptions on inflation, etc. But I think zero-based plan is clean slate. Let's start each plan in our budget cycle with a clean slate. So I love that word, clean slate. I think you guys nailed it. Let's see the answer, please. All right. Yep. There we go. Clean slate. You guys all nailed that one. It sounds like you've heard that word, zero-based plan or budget. Never heard of zero-based plan, more budget for me. All right, let's move on. Go ahead, take this one, Olivia.
All right. Our managed care plans that exert the most control over providers and therefore save the most money in the provider payments are. So we have our A, or would it be our B here with our preferred provider organizations? We know it's not A or B, right? I think our managed healthcare organizations, it's probably more within our managed healthcare organizations because we know they have more control of, what providers we see within those healthcare managed organizations. So is it either closed or point of service? Those are kind of the two options here that I would look at when we're looking at these HMO plans that we have out there. And maybe if we're looking at it from kind of like a decision point, do we have any answers in the chat of what it would be?
We got
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
C's.
C's, a lot of C's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, so I think C is the best answer here, right? When we're talking about a closed panel HMO, they have the tightest level of control within the organization versus a point of service HMO, which it has a combined HMO and PPO type of plan. So yeah. All right.
All right, next one.
I think that's the last one. Kevin, you want to take
Okay, a productivity measure that takes into account the level of skill required to accomplish a task is an hourly rate, paid hours per unit of service, scheduled hours per unit of service, or labor compensation per unit of service. A productivity measure that takes into account the level of skill required to accomplish a task is, and I think it's easy, like let's strike the word hourly rate, that number A, hourly rate, because we know that's just like one variable in this whole equation. The level of skill required to accomplish the level of skill, paid hours per unit. We have a lot of per unit of service. So we're debating between paid hours, scheduled hours, and labor compensation per hour. And we're talking about the productivity measure, paid hours, scheduled hours, or labor compensation. What do we got for answers? We got C's, scheduled hours, paid hours. Wow, that's interesting. A lot of scheduled hours versus paid hours. God, I'm leaning more towards a B on this one with paid hours because scheduled versus actual. What do we got? We got any more in there? We got B. Michelle coming up with a B at the end. All right. Why did you pick B, Michelle, before we reveal this one, since we're getting to the end?
Well, scheduled hours doesn't make sense to me because just because you're scheduled doesn't mean you're going to do it. So that's why. So I was actually debating between B and D, but decided to go with A because the service has already been performed, which equates to productivity to me.
Yeah, but and then the tricky part of this question also is the productivity that takes into account the level of skill required to accomplish a task. So I think you're on to the D a little bit, labor compensation per unit of service, possibly because it's the level of skill. It's not just the productivity measure, but the level of skill.
Maybe
So
it is D, because yeah, this is two right answers, I guess, maybe.
yeah, paid hours, it could be this or that. Now we got some D's. So I'm getting towards D here. All right. Anybody else? Not Navidita. Why did you say D? Yep. All right, can't hear you. So we'll move on to the answer here because we've got to wrap this. We got about 10 minutes left. All right, let's go to the answer. D. Tricky question, but we broke out the big word, level of skill required. So yeah, definitely tough question there. But the labor compensation, not just the hourly per unit of service, it's almost like that hourly rate per unit of service, similar. But very good, very good. That's a good tricky one. But breaking down the question and relating to the answers is what we did there a little bit. Any other?
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, Rick,
The
please.
difference between B and D for me is that I interpreted B as just being salary, where D would include total cost, benefits, etc.
Yeah,
Is
I mean,
that a
or
significant difference for you?
yeah. Well, paid hours is like it could be whether you're low pay at the hospital. I'm using hospitals, so I work in hospitals to the or any clinic, whatever, to the highest level. You know, I'll use a clinic, an MA to a nurse practitioner, like that. How many hours they work is it's the labor compensation and that hourly rate. Like labor compensation is paid hours times hourly rate gives you your labor compensation per unit of service. That's how I'd see that.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next one. We're down to the last 9 minutes, but thank you, Rick, for that one. Any questions and answers? Any questions for anybody here? As we're getting towards the end here. But we got a few wrap-up slides to close these sessions. Okay. Let's move on to the next slide here. Skill mix in the unit, exactly, Michael. It's so hard for me to read this one. So let me sample matrix. Yeah, there's a lot of ratios here and such.
Maybe I can explain it. These were my
Rick, please. Thank you.
These were mine. So I'll
Yep.
do it. So one of the ways of preparing yourself, I mean, you're getting so much information, whether it's from a well-managed healthcare organization or whatever else you're using. You're getting tons of information and need to find a way to organize it. And you also want to be able to do kind of like last minute cramming. So one thing I would look at when you have a lot of things listed is doing a matrix like this. So for finance, for example, you break down the types of ratios, the categories, then under it put each of the ones you can find, and a really fast explanation of it. For the law one here, I think I mentioned this when I talked about law and regs, is there's tons of laws, right, that you're dealing with, federal laws for the most part. So just list them out, put the year, and put real briefly what it did. And this helps organize your thoughts, which is the key of why you should do it yourself instead of stealing it from someone. But also, I said it gives you that last minute studying.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick. Let's go to the next slide, please. Closing comments here. Rick just kind of went through a little bit of it, not exactly this, but be sure to, I'll read a little bit of this, and Rick, please chime in, or anyone else on the panel here. Be sure to read and reread each question carefully. Try reading the question backwards to catch keywords. We just kind of did that in the last one. We didn't exactly read it backwards, but we're pulling keywords out of those to drive that answer. Read all response and a lot of the operations on the income statement question. Read all responses for each question before selecting an answer. Read each of the options. Are they true or false? Mark only one answer. Multiple answers are invalid. There's no added penalty for guessing, so answer every question. Skip difficult questions and return to them. Remember to pick only one. The computer site exam only allows you to mark questions and return it later. Do not go back and change your answer. Your first hunch is most often right, and I apologize for the background noise here. Next slide, please. Rick, you want to jump in on this one, if you don't mind?
Sure. So this goes back to the thing about, there's no penalty for guessing, but you do better if you can get it down to choices of 2 rather than choices of 4. So, when you do that, then maybe you're caught between 2 of them. Look for the one that is broadest, usually, or not broadest aside, but it's most inclusive. It's more likely to be the correct one. So don't do that completely for everything, but if you're really stuck between two and you're down to flipping a coin, look for which one is more inclusive. You do want to make sure you're finding those qualifiers, because they are giving really specific answers. So, when you say all, never, always, things like that, it means that if you can think of one exception, it's wrong, right? So you want to make sure you're identifying those, and particularly look for the knots. Make sure you're not getting caught up on looking at it in the wrong direction. I think most of you are from California, and we are going to withdraw from the rest of the country, so this won't count after this. But the exam is national, so what you do day to day in your job is going to be based on your state laws for the most part, and you have to get your head into the national, more generic thing. So same goes for type of organization. Kevin said he's a very hospital-centric person because that's where he works. So wherever you work, you kind of see the world through that viewpoint, but make sure you're thinking generically. And then last is, yeah, you've got plenty of time. You have 6 hours on this damn thing. So there's no way you're going to take that amount of time. You have time to think through questions. You also have time to stand up, stretch, relax, take a deep breath, and then go back and hit them.
All right, let's go to the next one, please. Yeah, Rick, continue this if you don't mind.
Sure. So, yeah, the other thing that people often ask this is that do you have to pass each of the 10 areas? And the good news is, no, you don't. So all of us are better at some of the areas than others. I think unless you work in finance, you probably hate finance. I personally hate HR for a lot of reasons, but I hate the questions because I've done through my whole life trying to avoid it. So uh, whatever you're strong in is going to cover you for some of the areas that you're weak in. You do want to try to identify your weak areas. The self-assessment tool that's on SHE's website is great as a starting point. So you can use that and use the practice questions and use anything else you have to say, okay, which areas do I want to devote my study time to? And don't bother putting a lot of time into the ones where you work day to day and know it all. Put in the others, but you'll depend on your day-to-day stuff to help carry you for the finance question.
Great. Thank you, Rick. Next slide, please. I'll just jump in here. Consider starting to join the study group. A couple of you, if you know people at your organization or nearby, it's a big. Northern California is bigger, even Southern California. There's some people from San Diego here, even out of the state. But buddy up with somebody. We can provide the registration email list. Possibly take advantage of ACHE and local chapter virtual programming to meet face-to-face and qualified credit hours. There's Rick, just put his LinkedIn. He's a great resource. Original board member at CAHL, and obviously is a pioneer of this whole workshop that we've done. So link in with him for more advice. Next session, next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is a past Board of Governor exam review course. There's currently not one that I see on the ACHE website. Obviously, I think this one was $25 or so. This is quite a value compared to $11.75. But if you find a need, I can't find anything new on the ACHE, but this was the one in the spring. You get some 14 virtual interactive education credits, which are needed toward your 36 if you don't already have. But it was approximately $1,200. So take a look at that if you feel you want additional help. Feel free to jump in and check the ACHE website for the latest. Next one, please. Book loaner, we do have, for those who are at Cal Congress on Wednesday, we're displaying the books. We have 2 sets. I bought 2 sets in the spring of the latest editions. They're currently loaned out. When I get them back, I'm going to send this group an email saying I have these books. Who would like to get them? And I'll buddy up and have somebody, meet you to pass the book or meet you at an a CAHL event or something to do that. So stay tuned. Look out for that email in the future, or if you want to be kind of on a wait list, or I'll put an email out later for those when they come available. But they are $400. They are available if you want to buy them on the ACHE website. But we do, as a bonus for this session, we do loan them out for free to you guys. So we have 2 sets, but I just need to get them back from people once they use them and take the test. Next, please. And finally, keep us posted on your progress and contact us if you have any questions. Once you've taken that exam, we welcome you to participate in future Board of Governor exam prep webinars, provide test question feedback and study tip, provide additional ACHE study materials, send a picture of you and your certificate for our wall of shame, and complete the CAHL Communication Spotlight questionnaire. And please be on the lookout for a Survey Monkey in the coming week. There's already people who hit me up Wednesday that they want to be part of this committee, as this is noting. So if you want to be part of this committee moving forward, please send an email to us. And I wish you guys good luck. I do want to say thank you to everyone who's participated on the faculty side and behind the scenes helping out. That'd be Sherlivia, Jaime, Parnica, Rick, Dr. Ellis, Michael today, Mary from San Diego, Grace, Lauren. You guys were all outstanding. I'm just seeing what else I got here. Give your feedback, as I said, and if you need a buddy to help you push you over the edge, we got about 50 people requested on Wednesday for a buddy to help them out, and we got to pair them up. So is there another slide? I think that's it.
Kevin, there's one question in the chat.
Yeah.
How do they record their credits for this course?
Great question. You actually go to your ACHE website. There you go. Rick just posted my ACHE, and it's self-reported. So the 12 units that are called there's 12 units that are QE. It's all on the website, how you obtain FACHE, but there's 36 units. The virtual and the in-person are pushed out through ACHE, whereas these 12 QEs are ones you would self-report. You don't get 12 for this, but I think we're giving, what do we give? 6? How many did we get? 7? Is that what we said? 7? Yeah, those 7.5, is it? Yeah, because we had that extra half hour. But those would be self-reported. You put your dates, this 1.5, 1.5. We had the 2-hour session the one time. So I think we did almost 8 maybe for this, Rick. We'll have to double check. I think it was 8 almost. Because we had 4 at 1.5 hours and then the 2-hour sessions.
Yeah, no, we didn't do the 2-hour one. So we're 7.5 on this one, I think.
Okay, well. My bad. I thought it was okay too. Okay, so that's it. Any final thoughts or questions, everybody? But we're available. This is a volunteer group, but we're here to support you. Our main goal of this committee and this series is to help you advance and become a fellow of American College of Healthcare Executives. And we really look forward to having those initials after your name. It's a long journey, and then continue to recertify. But stick on it and get it done. And I promise you will be very excited when you get it done and possibly walk across the stage at the next Congress in Houston, or if you don't make it next year, in Nashville will be the following Congress. And what were the in-person events like? The one with Siri at Marshall Medical. I didn't see that one posted to me. I didn't attend that. I talked to Siri actually on Wednesday at CAHL Congress. Those are going great. I mean, every couple months. Are you asking how many points, Shelley? Or I'm not sure, but what type of credit? I don't know if that one has credit. I just searched a website. I'll be honest. I'm not owning that, so I don't know that answer. What is the deadline for passing the exam to walk the stage? Somebody told me, that's a great question, but somebody told me it's on this. You have to pass it by 12/31 to walk the stage. I don't have a definitive answer for that, but somebody told me that on Wednesday, and they may have better knowledge than me. But I would recommend, if you're curious about that, to call the ACHE Chicago phone line. They're very helpful there, and I'm not trying to not be the one with all the answers, but I don't have that answer at the top of my head, but somebody did say before December 31st. Thank you, Sarah. Any other last minute questions? We're 5 minutes over, so I want to have you guys enjoy this beautiful Saturday wherever you are, hopefully. But thanks again to everyone for participating and being an active participant throughout the time, and everyone who helped run this and get this going, because we are here to serve you as California Associated Healthcare Leader Committee members. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great one.